Hey, Canucks fans, the Canucks were back at practice today, a day after beating the Minnesota Wild 2-0. I'll talk about that in a second. But a new face at practice, a familiar face, but someone who hadn't been around in a month. Pius Suter was at practice today. He was injured in the November 12th game against Montreal. He practiced, I think, the day or two after that, and then left the ice, and we have not seen him since. There's been a lot of mystery surrounding Pius Suter's injury. He spoke to the media today. He didn't say much. Usually they don't disclose exactly what it is for fear of being, we don't want opponents knowing or targeting a certain area or whatever. So I don't even know actually if it's upper body, lower body, head, whatever it was. But the way he was talking, I seem to remember it being a lower body injury, just like Carson Soucy's. But actually, I don't know that for sure. So if anyone knows, put it in the chat. The main thing is when Suter got hurt, prior to that Montreal game, he had scored 4 goals in 5 games. He was the hottest Canuck in terms of goal scoring. So much so I was calling him Pius Shooter. But yes, Pius Suter was back at practice and probably not going to play tomorrow. I think he needs a couple more practices under his belt, especially after not being with the team for almost an entire month. And he even said as much. So and the way the Canucks ran their line rushes today, he wasn't on one of them. He was one of the extra skaters. So it'd be awesome though to have him back. Awesome and I think when he comes back, you'll see Neal Chark then being the healthy scratch and or shipped back down to Abbotsford, because then you're stacked down the middle again with PD, Miller, Bluger, and Suter, whether they're third and fourth line, and then you still have Sam Lafferty there who can play center as well. And yes, we'll cross this bridge when we get to it, but it'll be interesting to see if Suter regains his third line spot. He was the one playing between Garland and Joshua to start off the season, because remember Bluger started the year hurt, and then kind of a role reversal. Then Suter got hurt, and then Bluger moved up to the third line. So we'll see where Suter slots in when he gets back. He has 4 goals to Bluger's 2, so maybe you want Suter on that third line. I think the other thing that's interesting is the Canucks, some of their struggles, both in the consistency in their play, the amount of wins, this whole loss win rotation that we've been talking about for a while, and even their effectiveness on the penalty kill, everything kind of changed when both Suter and Soucy got hurt at around the same time. So it's not all on Suter, it's not all on Soucy, but you can see how important those two guys are, a top 9 forward and a top 4 defenseman. You take those two pieces out, and it's not a surprise the Canucks have not have struggled a little bit, at least to find some consistency. So I predict that Suter, his first game back will be on Tuesday night against Tampa Bay, as opposed to tomorrow night against Carolina. A couple words. Oh yeah, so the way the Canucks lineup today was the exact same lineup that won last night. So up front, it was still Pettersson with Mikheyev and Lafferty, Miller, Besser, and Hoglander, who had a great game last night. Third line, talked about Bluger, Joshua, and Garland. And fourth line of Amon, Phil DiGiuseppe, and Andrei Kuzmenko. And then Pius Suter was indeed the 13th forward. On D, the same 6, Hughes, Hronek, Zadorov, and Myers, Cole, and Juleson, which meant Mark Friedman was the extra defenseman at practice. Now, a quick word about last night. I already talked about it twice because I had my own show, and then I also had Game Over. Yes, a horrible first 12 to 13 minutes of the game until the Canucks got their first shot on goal. But then after that, I'd say the Canucks, they didn't dominate, but they certainly controlled the flow of the play for the final 45, 46 minutes of the game. Got 2 timely goals, one at the end of the first period, one at the start of the third period, I think, not the second period, right? Was it start of the third period? Yeah, start of the third period. So some 2 timely goals, and yeah, good to see the depth scoring. Guys like Niels Hoglander, even though he was, bumped up to the top 6, and then Teddy Bluger with the insurance marker. And Casey Desmith was really good, making 26 shots, 26 saves, saving all 26 shots from the Minnesota Wild. And especially in that first period, where he was very efficient, he looked bigger than he is and made all the stops that he needed to, as the Canucks were getting thoroughly outplayed. And a quick word about Casey Desmith. A lot of people saying, well, it seems like he hasn't played in a while, because Demko had started quite a few. But then at the start of the season, I'd say Desmith got into more games than we expected. So right at the 27 game mark, they're exactly where we thought they'd be. Desmith has started 9 games, and Demko has started 18 games. So it's exactly a 2-to-1 ratio, 66% to 33%. So by the end of the season, if you keep up this kind of what's the word I'm looking for? Not proration, not representation. I guess split. If you keep up the split, it'll be a 2/3, 1/3 split, and then that means Demko will probably play about 54 or 55 games, and then Desmith will start about 27 or 28 games. So it's perfect. 2-to-1, exactly what you want. You don't want your starter playing 60 or 65, but your starter should be able to play about 50 or 55, and that's kind of what we are aiming for right now. So anyone thinking that Desmith's not playing enough, I don't think anyone's saying that Desmith is playing too much. Sure, it hasn't been a perfect 2-1, 2 games, 1 game, 2 games, 1 game. It hasn't been that perfect rotation. But you look at where they are after 27 games, and yes, Demko started 18 of them. Desmith has started 9 of them, or at least I think I'm pretty close to that, if not 1 game off. But the whole point is it's been a really healthy 2-to-1 split right now. People are saying, well, is this tandem going to win the Jennings Trophy as the best goaltending tandem? I think it's done by save percentage, not by goals against. Regardless, it's, Roberto Luongo and Corey Schneider won it way back in 2011, I think it was, or 2012. So now there's a good possibility with Thatcher Demko's great start, with Casey Desmith also playing very well as a backup, that Desmith and Demko, the double Ds, that they might combine for a Jennings Trophy for the Canucks by the end of the season. And I was kind of looking through some stats, and I was thinking about the other teams that are doing really well and have good goaltending. And there's the Rangers, who have, of course, Shesterkin and the very surprising Jonathan Quick, who's playing better than Shesterkin, so they are a candidate. There's always Boston with Allmark and Swayman, and they're a really good combo. In LA, it's Cam Talbot, and I don't even know who the second goalie is in LA is actually. So is it Copley? Maybe. No. Yeah, maybe it is. And then in Vegas, of course, it's Aiden Hill and Logan Thompson. So there's a few teams there that at least I'm thinking teams that are near the top of the standings, along with the Canucks, and then who have really, really good goaltending. So too early to say who it's going to be right now, but there are some candidates right now. I on paper, at least, I like that Demko Desmith combo better than all of those, except for maybe the Boston one of Allmark and Swayman, which I think is a very good combo as well. So maybe it'll be one of those two teams, those two tandems, that picks up the Jennings Trophy at the end of the season. Tonight, no Canucks game, but I'm actually going to be on SDPN. I'm hosting Game Over Edmonton, as none of the Edmonton hosts could do it. It's Edmonton hosting Minnesota, so I got some scouting work done yesterday in watching the Canucks beat Minnesota, and kind of a nice return the favor, because one of the Edmonton guys, Avery, did it for us at the start of November when none of the 4 of us could do a game between Vancouver and Dallas. So if you want to, I don't have my own show on my own channel tonight, but if you want to watch me on SDPN, I'll be hosting Game Over Edmonton after the Edmonton-Minnesota game. And finally, don't forget about the wonderful trip to Vegas that we're going to go on at the end of March, start of April. 3 nights, hotel, airfare to and from Vegas, transfers from the airport to the hotel, and of course the game ticket, all for $999 Canadian. It's an awesome deal. I've talked about this on my streams and my videos. I even recorded an own dedicated video about it. So if you're interested in this, $999 for all of those things. You got to contact Neal Chark, nealc@uniglobecarefree.ca. I'll put that in the video description as well. And it's a $200 deposit that's due on Tuesday. So that's all you got to do is contact Neal Chark, nealc@uniglobecarefree.ca. Tell him that Canuck Clay told you about this amazing trip, and then he'll figure out a way to collect that $200 deposit from you. I'm going to be going. Some family members of mine are going. Crazy P's going. And hopefully you will join us as well to watch Vancouver and Vegas play on April 2nd in Vegas. Okay, friends. Again, no show tonight on my own channel, but you can catch me Game Over Edmonton on the SDPN channel. On your way, so shout out to my sponsors: Vancity Experts Real Estate, Perform and Transform, Personal Training, Weight Loss. Thank you, legendary Lucas Gates, legendary Carol Bovelander, legendary Andrew Chang, Hall of Fame and franchise members as well. And thanks to all of you for liking, subscribing, and watching this video. Always appreciate you. Never take you for granted. So on your way out, subscribe, like the video, leave a donation, become a member, upgrade your membership, and let me know your thoughts on last night's game, on Pius Suter coming back, and do Demko and Desmith have a chance to win the Jennings Trophy this season. Stay safe, stay healthy, take care of yourselves, and take care of each other. Have a great day. God bless, and go Canucks go.